Rain with some heavy falls elsewhere, spreading north tomorrow.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Detective Inspector Glenn Baldwin from the Auckland Police. Thank you for coming today. I'm here to provide you with an update regarding Operation Coma, the homicide investigation police have launched following events yesterday evening in Lynn. Our investigation is progressing and we are building a picture of what led to the violent events that played out in Tuarangi Road last night. Numerous 111 calls were made at about 6:45 p.m. last night, reporting a firearm had been discharged in that area. On the arrival of police, we located a man with critical injuries, and despite efforts of people at the scene, he succumbed to his injuries. Through the course of the night, 2 further people presented at Auckland Hospital with gunshot wounds. One of those remains in a serious condition and the other is in a serious but stable condition. A third man was brought here to the Auckland Central Police Station to be spoken with as part of the investigation. While speaking with him, it was discovered that he too had been shot and medical assistance was sought for him. He was transported to the hospital. It is understood that all 3 men will undergo surgery today. At this point, we are not aware of anybody else who has been injured. What we know at this point is that an altercation was taking place between 2 groups that led to a firearm being produced and discharged. Immediately after the shots were discharged, those who were present fled the area. Both groups appear to be known to each other, and we believe this relates to an ongoing neighbourhood dispute between the groups. This dispute escalated last night, and someone has tragically lost their life in a shocking display of violence. As part of this homicide investigation, police are making further inquiries into a report of willful damage to a house on Tuarangi Road earlier in the afternoon. We'll be looking at this information as well as other previously reported matters in that area. This will form part of our wider investigation and putting together the sequence of events that have ensued. Our investigation is still in its early stages and there is much to cover. Our staff are working hard to progress the investigation and there is an increased presence in the Lynn Tuarangi Road area. Moving forward, a scene examination will remain ongoing through the course of the weekend. Investigation staff will also be going door to door conducting an area canvass. We also expect the victim to be removed from the scene today with a post-mortem examination scheduled for tomorrow. I know there will be some discussion within the community around who this man is, but at this point I am unable to release any further information regarding that. His family are aware and we need to give them some time to notify other whānau and friends. We also need to complete formal identification procedures and, as I mentioned, a post-mortem examination will be carried out tomorrow. Lastly, I'd like to address the wider community. There will undoubtedly be some anxiety and concern out there that something like this has happened. Police do perceive this to be part of a dispute between 2 groups that commenced earlier that day. The previous incidents reported to police and potentially some that are not known to police as yet will form part of our wider investigation. This is a time for calm. This appalling violence will not be tolerated. There is a team of driven investigators who are working hard to identify those who were present and hold those to account who are responsible for the death. We know the public can also assist with our investigation, as this is a very busy part of town. We need to hear from people who can assist, who may have dashcam footage or CCTV. We urgently seek that to assist us with this investigation. Please contact police on 105, quoting file number 240905, /8180 or Operation COMMA, COMMA. Information can also be provided anonymously through Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. I'll take some questions.
You say this was an ongoing neighbourhood dispute between two groups. Are there gang links here?
There's no evidence of that as yet. Some of the people involved in this series of events are known to police. There are criminals involved. We are still seeking to identify those involved. It's too early to say.
How many people are you looking for at this stage?
Again, too early to say. We are still trying to establish a clear picture on that. And as our investigation develops, I think we will understand that better.
Are you looking at charging some of those who are currently in hospital?
Too early to say. The criminal liability assessments will be conducted in due course once we understand the full picture and circumstances of what has occurred.
Have police located the murder weapon?
Not yet.
So these people in hospital are on either side of the dispute. They're not necessarily all from one side of it.
Yeah, we haven't been able to speak with them. It's not clear. It may be that they are one side of the dispute. Again, remain open-minded on that. We are still trying to unpack that. People fled the scene. It is really hard to work out what has happened. We will endeavour to do that.
You said it was a neighbourly dispute. Was that two households?
Yes, and some associates of some of those residents, if you like.
What's the nature of the dispute?
As we understand at the moment, it's property damage. We are still trying to work out exactly the background to that. It started with property damage and it has now escalated to this. And this sort of stuff just needs to stop immediately.
What sort of property damage, yeah?
Broken windows on vehicles and houses.
Are the people involved all thought to be adults?
Yes, again, open-minded on that. We don't know who they are as yet.
You talk about some of the anxiety in the community. Obviously, this is the third homicide investigation that police have launched in the last week, following the events of last weekend. Can you assure the public that these aren't linked whatsoever? And can you speak to, is Auckland safe?
Look, first of all, it's actually the fourth homicide in the last 10 days. None of these incidents appear to be linked. They're all separate. It is a tragedy. The timing is incredibly unfortunate, but look, we are investigating all of those matters with diligence. Those other three matters, the offenders have been arrested, and those matters are now before the courts. This matter has our absolute focus at this time. We will work hard over the next few days to understand the circumstances. We are following positive lines of inquiry, and as I say, we are focused on holding this offender to account.
How many, apologies if you cut this off, but how many people are you still seeking?
There's quite a few, probably over a dozen. We don't yet understand the full numbers. It's a fairly chaotic series of events. When police arrive, people have fled the area. The CCTV that we hope to get from the community and from traffic cameras and the like will hopefully help us to understand that. It does take a wee bit of time to unpack that, particularly when the circumstances are so rapidly changing. It's dark and there's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts.
So you're potentially looking at, this is multiple people involved, could be multiple charges of varying levels in the wash-up.
Oh, there could be. Too early to say. We are primarily focused on holding the killer to account, and then the subsidiary offending around that we will review as well.
So this is an ongoing dispute. Are you expecting there could be further retaliation?
Oh, I would like to think not, but there will be an increased police presence. We'll increase our patrols in that area. Obviously, if people see suspicious activity occurring, call 111 and let us know. The community need to be our eyes and ears. So if there are concerns about the behaviour of people congregating and there's a likelihood of violence, we need to know about it. Please call 111 and tell us.
Was the killing, for want of a better word itself, was that confined to a property or was this in the street?
It has started at the front of a property and the deceased has died on the roadside.
How many people were there when police turned up? Approximately.
Those immediately involved had fled. residents had come out of their properties, obviously hearing the commotion and the shots, and numerous people, residents, locals, were spoken to last night.
How far do the reports of issues in that area with the neighbourly disputes go back?
Look, the first possible linked incident could be back as far as March. We need to unpack that some more. There's certainly an incident on the 16th of August, but a man has been charged with burglary in relation to that matter. Mm-hmm. And the incidents yesterday, we're still looking to understand that further. I do perceive that the incident reported to us at about 4 o'clock is related to what subsequently unfolded. I believe those matters are linked, and again, that will form part of our wider investigation.
And obviously there's still people who have fled the scene that haven't spoken to police yet. Have you spoken to people who are still part of the inquiries who you're asking to keep in the area?
Sorry, I didn't quite understand that. Look, the people that fled, yes, we want to hear from you. Yeah. Other residents in the area that might know something or recognise people, we want to hear from you. We will be going door to door, but if you have information that can help us, please contact us. Don't wait for us to come to you. It might be the key piece of the jigsaw puzzle that helps us unpack all of this and get a clearer understanding of what's going on.
There's quite a clear, down at the scene, quite a clear concentration of police at, I think, 68 Tuarangi Road. Is that the property where it's believed to have started and it's then spilled down to where the scene is?
Look, people at the property at number 68 have been spoken to by police. We are working with them to understand around earlier incidents. Exactly the circumstances of how that's unpacked, it's a bit early for me to say. We hope to get a clearer understanding of that. But some of those people we've spoken to last night.
How many weapons were involved, and do you know roughly if there were more than one firearm?
I'm aware of one firearm, but there was a number of shots. Whether or not there were more, I'm not sure. Again, too early to say.
Any concerns that there may be more people who have been injured?
Oh, look, we only know about the ones we know about. Some people are unwilling to talk to police for their own reasons. Look, if there were other people injured, we would like to hear from them, but we're not aware of any others at the moment.
You said there were a lot of people involved, looking for at least a dozen. I mean, was this a planned gathering as far as you're concerned?
Oh, look, it's too early to say. Certainly some groups have arrived. There was some people already in Tuarangi Road, so they are there. And unfortunately, that's part of what we're trying to work out is how that came to be and how those two groups came into conflict on the roadside in Tuarangi Road.
We've seen Kainga Order staff at the scene this morning. Is there any link in that respect? Are the properties Kainga Order properties at all?
Oh, it's too early for me to say. I don't know that, I'm sorry.
And the man who sadly died, where he was, unfortunately, where he died, was that where he lived?
No. He did live in the area, but not there.
And the other three that were injured, did they live in that same address?
Too early for me to say. They were located, again, in the street, and for privacy reasons, I'm not going to go into where they lived.
Any other questions?
Okay. Thank you.